This is See You Next Time. Come on in, the water's deeply flawed and entitled. We're taking a swim and we've got everything from, well, we've got some things and a little stuff. You know what, it's limited. We've got...
And I could reach into a man's soul and unravel it with one tug.
All you're making me feel right now is hatred.
This one's from Willing Noise. My in-laws are suing me for part ownership in my company. This is just happening. It started today. I was served with papers. My husband and I, both male. I'm not sure why that's relevant, but seeing as I brought it up.
First of all, gay.
My gay husband and I, both male, had issues with them a while back that resulted in us going no contact.
Gay douchebag?
I have had my gay restaurant since I was in my 20s, long before my gay husband was ever in my life.
Oh, gay, so gay.
My in-laws felt that after we got married it became a family business and they were entitled to ownership. My husband and I have a gay prenup and postnup that states my husband and his family have no stake in the business, and I am the sole gay owner.
It's a good day for being gay.
And they know this and have known this. This issue caused us to go no contact with his family because of their entitled greed.
They may cost more, but they're gayer.
My gay husband is beyond pissed and my lawyer is assuring me that they will lose. For some reason, I'm gay laughing about it. Just one more headache I didn't need.
I'm just impressed you got through a whole conversation with two gay men without doing this.
Well, this is pretty open and shut, isn't it? OP says they're gay countersuing, so I suspect it'll get wrapped up pretty nicely in their favour. Could certainly do without the hassle, though.
Wait, those guys were...
This one's from BJ69, or something like that. A random woman insulted me for not agreeing to watch her child. So I, 26-year-old female, was sat on a bench finishing my lunch break when a random woman came up and sat next to me on the bench. She had a toddler in a stroller. I'm getting up to walk away and she says,
"Excuse me, could you just watch my child for 2 minutes while I pop into the shop? It's really hard to get the buggy in there."
I felt bad, but sympathetically I said, "Sorry, I'm just going back to work, but this is a fairly safe area. Maybe you can keep the buggy outside and bring him in with you. The shopkeeper would keep an eye on the buggy through the window." She looks at me and says in a really mean tone,
"But you only work just next door. I can tell from your lanyard. It only takes a couple of minutes."
So I just said sorry and went to walk away as I'm literally 2 minutes towards the end of my break, when she said,
"You probably would have upset him anyway with the state of you."
I didn't respond and carried on walking, but it made me feel crap, and on top of this I would have genuinely not minded helping if it wasn't for the fact that A, I'd have someone breathing down my neck for being late off break, and B, I know the shopkeeper in the area well, and have seen countless people leave pushchairs, mobility scooters, etc. outside. Ugh, I despise people like this. "Excuse me, can you watch my baby?" "No, sorry, I've got to get back to work." "Oh, you only work just there. I've been watching you." "No, sorry, I really can't." "Ugh, God, you're disgusting anyway. I shouldn't even bother." There's a real kind of nice guy energy about this. Yeah, go frig yourself with a rusty razor, woman. This one's from Veggie Vengeance. I put vegetables in all my food so my roommate's kid won't eat them. The mum is upset. I'm a 26-year-old woman and I live in a rented house with a single mother who's 30 and her son who's 6. I had another person living with me, but they moved out and the mother moved in. I don't mind living with her and her kid. It's fine, and we kind of do our own thing. I spend a lot of time at my boyfriend's place or working. Our work schedules collide, so we really don't interact much, but when we do, it's fine, no issue there. I want to start with saying that she clearly struggles financially, but I don't think it's an excuse. I don't make lots of money either. However, I've noticed that my food would go missing, or portions would be taken from it. I assumed it was her kid, so I asked her if she'd stop him from eating my food. I was calm about it, and she just said that she would. It didn't really upset me when it first started. It started getting annoying when I'd get home from work and expect to have a meal's worth of leftovers in the fridge, only to see it picked through or just gone. I kept bringing it up, and she started getting annoyed with me bringing it up. Just from observing them, I realised that neither of them ever eat vegetables. And judging by the food that would get picked through and the food that would be untouched, anything with green in it was avoided. Orange chicken would be gone, but chicken and broccoli would be untouched. So I started putting
Of course you must have vegetables!
In everything. I find vegetables to be delicious, and anything green or not a potato does not get eaten, so I could mix some bell peppers into the food and it would be fine. I make a big portion of vegetables pretty frequently anyway, so I just started putting it in everything I eat. If I had leftover mashed potatoes, I'd pour green beans in and mix it up. If I had leftover cheesy bacon fries, I'd pour broccoli all over it and mix it in. Usually my homemade stuff has in it, but I started making sure everything did. I made a pot of mac and cheese, the kids' favourite thing, and poured in roasted Brussels sprouts, which is actually delicious to me, and I'm eating more vegetables, so it's a win-win. She had been seeming annoyed, but we were all home when I made the pot of mac and cheese. She was in the living room and saw me get out the Brussels sprouts and was like,
What are you gonna do with that?
and I poured them in. She said I was being
Greedy and annoying.
I just said, I like Brussels sprouts, and that was it. She said,
We need food.
and I told her to go get some, or stop buying only pre-packaged things and your money will go further. I think she sees this as some big act of revenge, but I simply want to be able to eat my food. I also want to add that the sharing is not the issue, it's expecting to have food there and it's not. So often I'd be working a long day and get home expecting to have a meal's worth of food and it all be gone. Or I wake up in a rush and have my food ready to eat in the morning, only to find it gone. So now I have to skip breakfast. If she would simply text sometimes, hey, is it okay if we eat food item? I would know and make other plans. I would stop for food and know I have to whip something up when I get home. Also, I think eating the last of someone else's food is crazy and rude. If someone makes a big pot of something and you ask for a serving, sure. But if someone made something and there is one serving left and you eat it without permission, that's evil as hell. This one's from Cold Entertainer Who Struggles with Paragraphs. My mum made a scene after I crashed my motorcycle and called my dad the N-word. Hey everyone, I just really needed to post this because this just happened and I thought I'd share it. I love my mother so much, but she's 100% narcissistic and entitled. About 2 nights ago, I was leaving my buddy's house and it was around 10 o'clock. I put on all my riding gear and hopped on my motorcycle. About a mile down the road I began to lean into a turn when my back tyre slid out, and then a few steps later I'm in someone's yard under a tree, and my motorcycle did a few barrel rolls, so it was a bit beat up. It still ran though, so I called my buddies and they came over in an instant. They gathered me up and took my bike over to their house, and I was taken to the hospital just to be safe. I made sure to call everyone like my girlfriend and my dad. I left calling my mum to last because I know how she acts. I made sure to tell her that she didn't have to call. It was a Saturday night and I could tell she was drunk, so I especially didn't want her there. Then my brother calls her and tells her that she should come. He said that if she didn't go, it would prove the point that she favours my brother, which she always did. So she headed over with her new boyfriend, that I'd never met before, only heard about. I'm sitting in the ER and my mum shows up sobbing. I'm chilling there with my girlfriend laughing about what happened. At this point I was fine because I wasn't in too much pain. All the gear I was wearing saved me from taking any significant damage. Then my dad shows up and that's where everything went downhill. They already began to argue as soon as he got there. I didn't hear much of what they were saying, but most of the time my mum is making me feel worse, going on and on about stuff I wasn't really paying attention to. As the doctor was taking my info and making me sign something, she whispers in my ear, "I'm gonna kill you." I turned around like, what the fuck? I was just in an accident, now that's what I want to hear, you know? Then my dad asked me about my car because we have to figure out how we're going to grab it from the storage unit. My mum then gets upset I'm talking to him and ignoring her. I try to explain that he asked me a question and she just got mad. We finally go to the waiting room and my mum says something to my dad, currently like 10 feet away from me and my mum. She then goes over and they begin to argue, getting louder and louder. My mum then comes back to me and screams to my father,
That's why you're a nagger.
I was stunned. Everyone begins to look over and I can't even go anywhere because I bruised my ankle and my knee. She then went on like nothing happened and I just wanted to die. After sitting there for what felt like an hour, they took me to get x-rayed and I was so happy. Sadly, they brought me back right after and I had to wait for the doctor to see me. I was there for a while. Eventually my mum went up to the front desk and asked how long it's going to be. As soon as she went up, I prayed she didn't make a scene like she always had. Well, I was sadly wrong, and my mum begins by exaggerating how long we had been there, and saying that I'm in so much pain. I wasn't, my knee was just uncomfortable in that wheelchair. Then the young girl at the front desk tried to explain to my mum that there's only one doctor at the moment because they're understaffed. Of course, that wasn't okay with my mum. She began yelling at the girl. The girl had to tell her to calm down and she just kept screaming. She had to threaten to call security on my mum. She finally relents and goes out to smoke a cigarette. While she's out there, I finally get called back to see the doctor and I pray I go in before she comes back, because the nurse says that only one family member can go back at a time. I was once again sadly mistaken. My mum came back right as I was going back, and she begged my dad for her to go in with me. He eventually caved and my mum came back with me. Once back there, they took my blood pressure and stuff. Then, after what felt like forever, the doctor finally came in. My mum proceeded to not let the doctor talk to me and explain what happened. She just kept talking and talking. It seemed like she talked more than the damn doctor. The doctor was trying to tell me there was nothing broken or fractured, but my mum kept talking for me. I couldn't even talk to the doctor. But finally the doctor left and they gave me my prescription. I finally left the hospital around 3:30 AM and I was so glad it was all over. I will never be calling my mum in a situation like that again.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know.
This one's from Grimace for Eyes. Entitled Mother thinks family bathroom is only for her and baby. Yesterday, I, 37-year-old female, got off a plane in the US and rushed to the airport bathroom. I have radiation colitis from cancer treatment and am prone to diarrhea and incontinence. I had a small accident while deplaning, but was trying to hold the rest in until I got to the bathroom. Not the first time this has happened, and I carry clean clothes and wipes with me whenever I travel. Anyway, I noticed a long line at the women's bathroom, and saw that the family care bathroom was vacant, and no one around looking to use it. So I stepped inside. I hear screaming behind me, but ignore it because it's a busy airport and thought nothing of it. As I'm closing the door behind me, a woman carrying a baby literally puts her hand and body between the door and opens the door, and the following interaction occurs. Angry mother.
Excuse me, this is a family restroom. This is not for you.
Me, trying to hold in the rest of my crap. Sorry, you'll have to wait.
We need to use this bathroom.
Not that this is any of your business, but I have a disability.
What disability?
She's still preventing me from closing the door with her body and hands, while holding a baby, mind you, and literally would not let go, still screaming,
What disability?
She still held on. I overpowered her and pushed her back with the door, then shut the door closed, and locked it. Fuck her and her fucking baby. You don't have a monopoly on family restrooms, which need a completely different title altogether in my opinion. And you don't get to harass a literal cancer patient because you chose to reproduce. I hope she and her baby shit their pants like I did. Wishing ill on a baby is not all that nice, but I get where you're coming from. And a friendly reminder. If you like to keep your teeth inside your mouth where they're supposed to be, probably best not to be a dick to everyone around you. This one's from Ara129. My very religious mother thinks I'm trans, and I'm not. What do I do? My mum thinks I'm trans. She's never exactly said it to my face, but it's very hinted. She thinks it because I'm masculine in her eyes. I can't do this anymore. I can't even wear goddamn clothes I feel comfortable in because they're loose, and she thinks I'm trying to hide my features. Hell, I'm not even allowed to wear plain shirts because that's what boys wear. Every time I choose my clothes, it always ends with me crying because my mum yells at me for not wearing the clothes she likes. When I get mad at her for this, she says,
Don't think I don't know what you're trying to do. You're trying to act like a boy.
I'm not even allowed to play sports just because it's masculine, even though it's something I enjoy. I can't even sit comfortably because apparently the way I sit isn't ladylike. She thinks all girls like pink and gets mad when I say I don't like it. My mum is very homophobic and religious, and I'm already the least favourite, so her thinking I'm trans does not help my situation. I really don't know what I can do to prove to her I'm not trans just because I'm masculine in her eyes. I have tried to wear clothing with designs. I haven't played a sport for a while. I tried to wear a lot more pink despite not liking the colour very much, and when I catch myself in a not ladylike position, I fix it. Yet after all I try to do, after stripping myself of everything I like for her to like me better and not think I'm trans, She still thinks I am. I can't do this anymore. What a bizarre situation. I guess it's better than those parents who force a trans identity on their young kids. Genuinely terrifying, by the way. But it's a whole other department of batshit. Personally, I'd worry less about her liking you and try to love yourself more. I suspect dearest Mama will be wondering why her kids never even call in 10 years' time. Well, there we have it. I hope you enjoyed that. Perhaps you'd like to spread the word by tattooing "See you next time" on your face, or scoring it into your retinas so that when your loved ones look you deep in the eyes, they are pointed towards this incredible channel with content worthy of the gods themselves. Well, perhaps some minor deities. Before clicking the little bell icon and sharing this video with those nice people from the BDSM club. And remember, most importantly, when indulging in a spot of cannibalism, always use a meat thermometer in the thickest part of the cut to check the internal temperature is at 71 degrees centigrade, 160 Fahrenheit, to ensure you don't get any sicker than you already are, you sick fuck. See you next time.